there was like a pause.
Yeah.
It was like.
Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Welcome back, guys. We are coming at you from beautiful, stagnant Calgary.
So today, first of all, we're going to be doing the Love is Blind UK edition.
Yes.
Recap in this episode.
So if you haven't seen it, guys, pause this episode, go get caught up on Love is Blind UK, and then dive in after because we are going to have some spoilers.
As usual, we love to do this. It's part of tradition at this point.
It is.
So we're going to do the Love is Blind recap. But usually for Love is Blind recaps, we have a beverage.
We do.
We have a alcoholic beverage.
And Rose, why are we not having an alcoholic beverage?
Because we had a few too many alcoholic beverages yesterday, especially this one over here.
I did. So basically, guys, for those of you that don't know or aren't in Calgary, this weekend was Pride weekend in the city. There's like a big parade and there was a lot of different stuff that we did. So one of the things that we did is on Saturday, me and Rose went to a Pride brunch. And then today, Sunday, I'm getting my days mixed up because it's also a long weekend. So today's Monday. We had the day off. Thank God. But Sunday, I went to like a couple different like drag performances and like there was a lot of stuff going on at a few different bars in Calgary and Rose joined.
I joined,
yes.
And so we had a few beverages.
Just a few.
And really, we should be doing hair of the dog, but we don't want to look at alcohol right now.
I know, I can't. Honestly, guys, like I had to, and like the walk from my place to Rose's is actually quite nice. It's like a nice little walk through nice communities and stuff. I left my house and I opened the door and the first thing that hit me was this like stagnant heat, like when you come off of like, an airplane on holidays.
Yes.
And that heat from the tarmac.
Oh, you mean like the humidity?
Oh yeah, and it was like kind of sticky and gross.
But it wasn't
out there.
like nice humidity. It was just gross. It was just slightly muggy and disgusting.
I know, it's funny because Rose walked part of the way to meet me, and the second she got out of the house, she's like, "What the fuck?" She's like, "You were not lying, Daniel."
I went outside for fresh air. It was not fresh.
No, I was like, "Oh, maybe there'll be like a nice, cool, refreshing breeze going by, and like, to help me with my slight hangover."
But it did
no
not.
No dice, guys.
So yes, we will not be drinking today. Instead, we will be hydrating with H2O.
H2O.
And we'll be discussing the lovely show, Love is Blind. UK edition, our favourite.
Do you think there's going to be a Canadian and an Australian one
I think there should be a Canadian gay edition so you could go in it.
I should. I will join, guys.
Amazing.
Let's petition.
I don't know. Canadian shows like never do well.
They never take off for some reason.
I think it's just, I don't know why.
You know what I think part of it is, though? I think it's just like because we sound really similar to the U.S. We're kind of just like lumped into that U.S. category. You know what I mean? Even though we're different countries, I feel like Australia and the U.K., especially the U.K., they're very, very proud about like authentically British stuff.
Yes.
So for us, it's like, something could be filmed in America, but we might think it's you don't know until you like look it up, right? You're like, oh, actually, okay, this is a American or Canadian show. Whereas with like the UK shows, I mean, you always know, right? There's going to be accents on there, all that sort of thing. So I just feel like their content generally, and I feel like it's the same for Australia because like Australia has some hugely successful shows there, right? Like our media just like doesn't seem to.
Canadian media kind of sucks.
It does.
The only thing about Canadian media, I think, is like Quebec has their own pretty strong media.
Yeah.
And they have their own culture and everything. They produce a lot of movies, like Quebecois films, and I'm sure they have like shows and people watch. They're very like Quebecois.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it comes down to like that element of like. If something's filmed in Quebec, like it's going to be in French, probably it's going to have like whereas for us, it's like if there was a huge media outlet in Canada that was like doing amazing content and stuff, it might just be like lumped in with the US anyway, because it kind of would sound the same.
I don't know. It's kind of sad though. I feel like we should have some better, our own unique shows or, Another
thing I found a little bit disappointing in Canada. I mean, not that we're bashing Canada right now, but I also feel like, especially the UK, the music scene in the UK is unreal. The artists that are coming out of the UK, even just like London, but all of these other, big cities in the UK, they just have such a good music scene. I think just the creatives in the UK.
Well, the thing is, there are lots of creatives in Canada. There are tons of people that are very successful that are Canadian, but they all go to the US.
And they move to LA. That's
and
the thing.
also, it becomes a US sort of media, even though they're Canadian. Like Celine Dion, fucking Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
There's Avril Lavigne is Canadian.
Yeah.
Tons of Canadian, Justin Bieber,
Alanis Morissette,
exactly.
Shania Twain.
But they all go to the U.S. because
Yeah.
that's where the money is.
Exactly.
So all the talent goes to the U.S.
Whereas you're right. I feel like with the UK, for example, I mean, artists do get really big in the UK as well.
Yeah.
But you can have a hugely successful career just in the UK, right?
How many people live in the UK?
There'd be about, I think there's about maybe.
Is there more than Canadians?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be about
That could also be
60 million, I think.
Yeah, there's definitely more than Canadians.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, let's start discuss. Oh, before we discuss Love is Blind UK, we do have a lovely shout out.
Oh, we do?
New Patreon, Daniel. Would you like to do the honors?
I would like to do the honors, and we would like to welcome Caroline to our little Patreon community family area.
Guys. So if you guys want to join us on Patreon, it's patreon.com/the SaVeg Every episode a week earlier than everybody else. You get ad-free content and a bonus exclusive episode every month. So check it out, you guys.
Yep.
So Love is Blind UK.
Love is Blind UK. So for those of you that don't know about what Love is Blind is, I'll give you a bit of a background while Rose is pulling up the couples.
The couples.
So Love is Blind, guys. Basically, it was they're treating it as a very serious experiment. Okay. It started with Nick and Vanessa Lachey. They were the hosts
in the US,
in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And they decided, you know what, we're gonna put, I think it's like 15 or 20 people, like guys, 20 girls, 20 guys, or something like this.
Sure.
And they go on dates in what's called the pods. Now the infamous pods that Rose loves. Rose loves a good pod.
I think you love the pods more, Daniel.
I think I might.
So basically, they don't see each other. The men and the women. The men like cohabit. What do you call it?
Cohabitate.
Live with each other. The women live with each other, but they don't see each other. So they go to these pods to go on these dates that are like blind dates, like literal blind dates, because you don't see the other person.
You talk through a wall. There's like a wall.
The entire point is that, oh my God, like, let's fall in love sight unseen.
That's your favorite quote from the show, isn't
sight
it?
Unseen. Oh my God.
We'll
I want to fall
out.
in love with your soul.
And we'll find out if our couples fell in love sight unseen.
So then they like talk for like 6 days, fucking boozed out for sure, like getting drunk. And like, I mean, if I thought about this, and it's like, if you're put in that position of like, you don't have social media.
Yeah.
There's very little entertainment. Like I heard that when you're just sitting around in your room, it's like boring. There's nothing to do, right? Because like you don't really have like, maybe they get movies or something, but they don't really get any like outside interaction other than themselves, right? So they're like probably super excited to go on these dates, which are like going to the pods. So then of course you're already like, dying for some sort of connection, some sort of human, especially of the opposite sex. So then of course you're probably gonna just like be like da-di-da-di-da, I'm just falling in love.
God damn.
Anyway, so they go to these pods and then they're like talking, and then if they decide they love each other, then they propose, they get engaged, then they finally meet in person. And then the people that get engaged, they go on a honeymoon or something to some kind of tropical place where they meet the other couples, and a lot of drama ensues.
Well, and the point is that, and I love it when they used to say this on the show, they're trying to see if the emotional connection becomes a physical one. And if it's as strong as in the emotional, they just have these intense emotional connections, And generally, guys, I will put it out there, the couples that seem to struggle intimately or struggle with the physical connection, like as in they just don't sleep with each other and they're like, oh, we're waiting, or we're doing
as in like you think they don't find each other attractive?
Well, it's either that or typically they always end like.
Oh, interesting.
Because I remember there was one couple in the US. Oh God, I can't remember what their names were.
Yeah.
And the guy, he sounded like he wanted to have sex, and she was more like, let's just wait. I don't want to rush into things.
Oh yeah,
blah, 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 blah.
Unless they're religious, that means I ain't that into you, bitch.
And then at the end, they didn't get married. So it's
like,
surprise,
I'm sorry,
surprise.
what do you mean rush into things? Y'all just got engaged after 2 days of talking. So what do you mean let's not rush into things? Okay, so what we like to do is we like to go through the couples that have been engaged, and sometimes other characters come into play, which we'll discuss.
Yeah.
And then and we discuss our thoughts. Now, I would like to say for the record, and I know Daniel's going to roll his eyes.
Oh my God. Here we go.
Before the end, before the finale, you guys, we do, my friend, me, Daniel, and our friend Christelle, we have a group chat, and we do our guesses as to which couples are going to say yes at the altar, which couples will not.
Yeah.
And I would like to say, out of this season, what were there? 5 couples?
I think there was 5 or maybe 6.
There might be 6 couples. I guessed every single one of them correctly. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, very useless talent. Don't know what to do with this talent, but I'm pretty good at this.
Hot in here, Rose.
I think you're just hungover.
I'm gonna be like sweating.
Oh goddamn! I think you'd be drinking a hot beverage.
Have my water.
I think you should drink some water, Daniel. So let's talk. But this couple was kind of surprising. So I've just seen. Well, I'd like to say I skimmed the reunion because I got bored. But so let's talk about the couple. So we have.
I will say though, before we dive in, one of the things that I appreciated on this particular version or round or whatever of Love Is Blind, I do appreciate that it was like more mature people generally. No, I don't want to
like
say
you mean older.
Yeah, I don't mean mature because there definitely weren't. But older, like typically people, because you know when you have these shows where it's like, you know, there's like a 21-year-old on there that's like, I've been with him for 3 years, and if he doesn't propose, and I'm like, dude, you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
Like this is the kind of age, like in their 30s, that people are starting to realistically think of marriage. Yeah. So I do appreciate that.
I do think this version, the UK version, that people, even though like, you know, some of these people weren't my favorites. Yeah. There wasn't like too much craziness.
There wasn't so much drama. There wasn't
so much. Yeah. So it seemed more, again, it's a reality show. Yeah. It seemed a little more realistic than the US version has become.
Yeah. I know, because the US version, there's like some major drama.
So let's get started, shall we? So Sabrina and Steven. So now I know a lot of you guys, even if you watch the show, you probably don't remember these names.
Yeah.
So Sabrina was the Irish girl.
Yeah.
And Steven was the I don't know how to describe him.
He was like a gym. He was like a big gym guy, kind of.
Just with like the beard and stuff. Yeah. And this was like the couple that everybody. It was like one of those couples that from the beginning you were like, okay, they're probably going to be the ones getting married.
Yeah. He was older too. Like I think he was 37. I want to say.
Okay,
or 38.
I can't remember how old he was.
And she was like 35. Not older, but like again, they were just like, you know, yeah.
So they said yes at the altar.
Yes.
So they technically got married.
Yeah.
But apparently they are no longer together. So that was the drama of the reunion.
So the marriage lasted, apparently, I saw this on social media, it was like 80 days or something.
Oh, really? So was it an annulment then?
Can
you get it? What is the? You could probably get it annulled.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not entirely sure, but basically,
they did getting their marriage annulled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, what had happened though, the reason that this couple, I don't know, they just seemed like very in line with like all these things. The problem was Sabrina, she's Irish, she lives in Belfast. Steven lives in London, where he said he was like an entrepreneur starting his own business.
Sure.
And he kind of was like not stuck, but he's like, I have to stay in London. Like that's where my business is. Because he like, I want to say he said he owned a gym or something like this, right? Yeah. So anyway, long story short, they were like discussing about what they were going to do, and they were going to do long distance for a bit, and they were going to go back and forth. So like when the reunion came up, they sat deliberately on separate couches. And did you see this part where Sabrina was just like, I don't know fully, obviously we're not there, we don't know what happened, but she, according to her, she was like, and he did kind of admit to this as well, she was like, he just didn't make the effort, you know. He's not a big texter or phone call. He likes to be like an in-person person.
Sure.
Like even when they were like in the, you know, the what's it called, in the apartment together and stuff, as part of the show, she said it was going really well. But then she's like, as soon as they were in the real world and they were separate, it's like, yeah, I get it, you're not a big caller or texter, but when you're doing long distance, you kind of have to be.
Yeah, you have to,
because there's no other. And then she said, like, I guess in her time, she actually made the trip to London 7 times to go see him.
Right.
In the same time he came twice to see her.
Right.
And she was like, the effort just wasn't matched. And she's like, you know. And also he kind of like, I think he like lied about a lot of stuff. Like he was actually like, I think he wasn't doing very well financially.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
So he was talking about like finances a lot. And like, and some people were, again, some people might be reading too much into this, but you know, some people were saying like, you know,
he couldn't afford it.
And also like men, sometimes some men, not all men, but they tend to get a little bit insecure about finances when they're the ones, especially when the woman that they're with is earning good money. And it seems like she's doing pretty well for herself.
Yeah.
So then that kind of turns into the man like not making the efforts and you know, doing all this whatever, and that's what it sounds like was happening. And I do again, I like totally skimmed the reunion, but I remember Sabrina being like, like I like basically changed things around so that like when he was here, I rented him a car, as in like she paid for the car rental, and like she got him a gym membership. I'm like, bro, did you get anything? You know?
Exactly. It just wasn't reciprocated, and he did admit it on the show too. He was like, yeah, fair enough. Like he's like, I didn't make the effort.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you married her. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I know, and they seem so like good, but this is how TV can be so deceptive.
Exactly.
You don't actually know what's happening, and like people are saying it seemed like he just wanted to get famous, and who the fuck knows? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so they're no longer together. No. So they did say yes. Yeah. And then now no more.
And they did seem that's the thing too. That was the one couple where I had no question. I was like, yep, they're gonna get married. They're in love. Like, I was like, amazing.
So out of the 6 couples, 3 said yes and 3 said no, right?
Is it 3 or 4 said yes and 2 said no?
No, 3 definitely. So Tom and whatever.
Yeah.
You're a hot man and whatever. Yeah. And so there was 3.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But ultimately only 2 stayed married. Okay, so that's what it was. So let's talk about Maria and Tom. So Maria and Tom is, I think, for me, I was like, they're definitely not compatible at all.
Yeah.
So Tom is like the slightly older guy. I think he's like 38 or something. Yeah. Maria is like the Muslim girl.
Yeah.
And they, from the beginning, just didn't seem like they even liked each other that much.
They didn't gel.
They did not gel. There was no chemistry,
There wasn't, even in the beginning, because it was, with Tom, it was between Maria and him and this other girl named Tash.
Right.
And I saw him and Tash seem like they had more
in common
chemistry and stuff. Whereas he was like, I like a woman that challenges me, and Maria brings me out of my shell, and blah, blah, blah. But Tom, I don't know. There's something about Tom that I just didn't like.
I couldn't put my finger on Tom.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. I don't know if he's a bit, I don't know what it is about him.
I think he's like a waffler. Like, he just seems to talk, and like, I don't really know how genuine a lot of the stuff he was saying was. Right. Because he kept like, I don't know. He just seemed to be a lot of bullshit coming up.
So one of the things that was the main one of the main things that was brought up during the show was that Maria is like more she's coming from Muslim background. She's more traditional.
Yeah.
And she kind of was like taken aback when Tom didn't offer to pay the bill or something like this.
Yeah.
So that was like the splitting the bill conversation was just like a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot for them to handle. And also she also said that as part of that, she's like, I wouldn't be comfortable like contributing to his mortgage.
Oh, is that what she said?
Yeah, there was a scene when Tom's sisters were there or something.
Right.
And she's like, so what are you guys gonna do? We're gonna move into Tom's place. Like, what's your guys' plan? And she's like, yeah, but I just like don't really feel comfortable paying someone else's mortgage.
As in she doesn't want to pay rent.
Kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like like, I don't know how they're just like not compatible at all. And it sounds like she kind of wants a guy, like a very traditional guy, to kind of take care of her, pay for everything, which I guess is fine. Not really, I understand to some extent. And then he's very much like, and later on in the reunion, he said that he was brought up by a single mom. So I think that could have contributed to him, like, not thinking the way that she's thinking.
Yeah.
But one thing that I found interesting was like, it seemed like Maria, did she say yes at the altar, or did Tom go first?
I think Tom went first. Yeah.
So,
because I think out of the 3 couples,
only one of them
said yes at the altar, and the other person said no.
Yes. So usually, which is so like, oh my God, how the producers are evil, man.
I know. I was like,
but so like so Maria, I remember like at the altar, basically she just, after like Tom said no, she seemed like devastated. Again, we don't know how she was actually feeling. Yeah. But I was like, how the fuck are you devastated? You guys are clearly not a match.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are clearly not compatible. And like, if I was a traditional Muslim woman, like, I also would not be wanting to be with Tom, who clearly doesn't understand my background and my story or whatever. Because like, they had very different, not political, like cultural views as well. So it just didn't mesh.
No.
And so she was like crying. But like, I remember she just kept saying, oh, I just really want to be married. I've wanted to be married. All I want is to be married. And I'm like, you literally are one of those people that just want to get married.
And it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't matter who the husband is. And that is fucking dangerous.
I know. It's interesting because you know how she brought up how she wants like the traditional like kind of like values, and that's her like what she wants in life.
But she went on Love is Blind.
I know that. But it was funny because I was watching kind of like, to digress, but kind of in line with this topic as well. I saw this like TikTok that came up.
Yeah.
And they were interviewing this girl, and it was so good. Like, it was like, I don't know if I sent it to you or not. and they were just like talking to her, and the girl
Oh
was
yes,
like,
you sent it to me.
It was the one where she goes like, okay,
Oh,
well,
you want a traditional?
Yeah. You want a traditional wife? Well, fine. I will cook. I will clean. I will do all this. But then I'm not working. You've got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. You have to provide for me. And then, I will stay home all day and clean the house. Like these guys, and I guess girls too, out there that are wanting these like traditional marriages. It's like, well, then they have to fulfill the other side of the bargain.
Yeah. But even then, I just feel like you're fucked if you try to rely on someone else financially.
100%.
Because we live in this world where it's like, you do housework for 20 years. Guess what? You can't put that on your resume. Sorry.
Exactly.
So good luck if you ever get divorced. And like, yes, you can get paid alimony and stuff, but that's not always, the court's not always going to be on your side. You don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
So anyways, okay.
And what about your pension, everything,
exactly.
right? Imagine
like,
not
you
contributing
just
to a
don't
pension for 20
trust.
years.
Like I would not be able to be comfortable with that.
No,
I would
me
want my
neither.
own finances individually.
Especially because as it happened on the show with Steven and Sabrina, marriages get annulled and people split up. Even after like people break up after 20 years of marriage, you know?
After 20, 30 years of marriage.
Yeah. So
which is
happens.
so crazy. I mean, by that point, you just be like, okay, I guess it is what it is.
I know. I feel like you
maybe
would.
that's easier said than done. I don't know.
I feel like once it gets to like 20, like 30 years married,
but
right?
maybe like some people, like I think some people after when they have kids, right?
Yeah,
You're
they stay together
focused
for
on
the
having,
kids.
or yes, that too.
Yeah.
Or they could be that, you know, they're so focused on raising the kids and they're busy and they're like doing all this stuff. So they're not focused on fully their relationship. The kids leave and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, like
I don't like this person anymore.
yeah, exactly. Fuck
Yeah.
this person. And then, oh God. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that was that. Tom and Maria,
Yeah.
not a match.
Not a match made in heaven.
I think Maria just really wants to get married. Tom was not interested at all.
Nope.
And there you go. Jasmine and Bobby, the happy couple.
Yeah, they were an interesting one.
Yeah.
This
This one was like the one where I wasn't actually 100% sure if they were going to say yes, but I was like leaning toward yes.
Because the way that it kind of came across, at least on the show, and I could be completely wrong because again, we don't see a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but Jasmine is a little firecracker.
Yeah. She's
you
a
could
bit,
tell that she's very like this.
Kind of like her though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked her as well, but she's very like this. And Bobby is just a very reserved, like kind of more quiet person.
But I think that's why it works, hey?
Yeah. And I think, but I thought what I thought could have potentially happened is Jasmine had pushed Bobby over the edge at some point, and then when it came down to it, he's the strong, like silent type.
Yes.
So he won't confront or say anything really, but then in the end, he might have been like, no. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure.
Right.
But they did actually, throughout the show.
I think they really bonded.
Yeah, they seemed really good together. And actually, you know, I really have like a lot of respect for Jasmine because, you know, her mom also is very intense.
Her mom was a bit too much.
And her mom told her not to get married.
Right. I skipped through that part, but I heard that later. Yeah.
Basically, her mom was like, you're making the wrong choice. Like, don't do this. You don't know this person.
Right. I mean, which is also fair.
Yeah. And her mom was like freaking out and stuff. And she's like, because I think Bobby didn't go to school and stuff. Like
Oh, really? Okay.
If I remember correctly, like he's quite successful.
Right.
Though.
Like he wasn't like university educated. Oh, yes. I do think I remember that.
Yeah. And the mom had a big deal about this.
Right.
She was like, he's not, but he actually runs his own, I guess like luxury shopping business for
Okay.
And he's quite successful. Like he does quite well for himself.
Yeah.
But I just remember, like her mom being like, you're making a mistake.
Yeah,
like, don't do it. And even with her mom, who like, you know, she really like loves and respects, she still was like, I have to do the right choice for me.
Yeah, it was quite nice.
Yeah. She's like, I love this person. Like, this is my person.
Yeah. Because clearly her mom was like they are very close.
Yeah.
But it is very obvious that her mom is very, very like, you know, watchful.
But thankfully she lives in the Philippines.
Yeah, so there is some distance. So it seems to be helpful. But they're really cute actually. And I do really like Bobby. Like again, he's like that silent but confident type. So even though he's quiet, I think like he knows what he wants. Like he's kind of
I really like honestly, because I've met a few people like that in my life.
Yes.
That are like this, you know, like it's not that they're like not confrontational or anything like that. They're just like you know, some people, unlike us, they just don't feel the need to fill voids, and they're comfortable being in silence. They'll say stuff occasionally, and it's always like well thought out.
Yes,
it's like they're very well put together.
Whereas we're just word vomit.
Yeah, we're just like and then like they'll just be like they'll say one thing, and it could be hilarious, it could be a joke, but it's just like they'll just, you know. And I honestly like I really think I need somebody like that in my life.
Yes. Yeah. So we like Jasmine and Bobby.
We love.
Hopefully they're happy forever.
I ship, as the kids would say. I
you ship them.
Jasmine and Bobby.
They're very cute and they seem to be very happy.
Yeah, and they're still together. They're still together in the reunion.
They were very lovey-dovey.
Yes.
To be fair, it's only been a year of actually knowing each other and being married.
This is true. Still, a year later, they're still together. A lot could happen in a year.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's talk about Nicole and Beniah. Interesting couple.
Very interesting.
Right now, happy together, it seems.
Yeah.
It seems Nicole made finally the good choice.
Oh my God. So there was I don't want to say
thruple?
a three-way. There was a thruple, essentially. And there
was a
another
love triangle.
Yeah. What was the other guy's name?
Sam.
Right. Sam.
Oh, my least favorite of the entire cast.
You know how you can just pinpoint when somebody goes on one of these shows?
Yes.
And it's for clout. It's for fame.
Yes.
Like it's like he studied like a bunch of romance shit and had all these like one-liners listed. Like at one point he almost said the line from like Notting Hill, you know, when she's like, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy asking him to love her.
He literally did that. He was like, I'm just a boy looking for a girl to love. And he kept like doing this. I do think some of it is probably genuine because he's so insecure.
Yeah.
But he kept doing this thing. It was like a pity party. It was like, oh my God, like, why does this keep happening to me? Nobody loves me. Very like, I just want to find love. And I'm like, okay, well then work on yourself.
Exactly.
And don't be a douche.
Well, and that's why I loved. So he went on a date with a few people. This Sam guy and Jasmine. Like,
oh yeah, Jasmine was one of them.
Yeah, I loved her for this because they sat down and he was like talking and he was like, just you're asking questions and stuff, and Jasmine's like, no, like what's going on here? She's like, literally, you sound like you're rehearsing or like you're literally saying everything that I just want to hear. You tell me something real. Like you're not being authentic.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh my God, I cannot do anything right.
I know. And he's like, why does everyone say this about me? Why do girls always think this? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay. And then, after that, because he was going to propose to Jasmine, I think.
Right, I think so. I think because they were getting a bit close.
Yeah. And Jasmine was like,
and then she clocked it right away.
Yeah. She called him out on his bullshit.
I think Jasmine's pretty smart. So, but Nicole was also talking to this Sam character.
Yes.
And
Nicole was talking to Beniah and Sam. Those were her two.
Those were the two connections in the pod.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, even though it was clear to everybody that Beniah was, probably more genuine
and real
than Sam, she somehow chose Sam. Even after Jasmine actually somebody sat her down and was like, oh, he was saying the same things to me.
So two things happened. Jasmine sat her down and Jasmine didn't like rip into him too much.
Yeah.
Like she didn't tell her everything, but she did say, he said the same stuff to me. And then Beniah, guys, Beniah was like, look, I don't want to ruin this experience for you, but I really have to tell you this Sam guy, because I know that you're like kind of seeing him. I don't think he's in this. He's on this show for the right reasons. Like I really do think he's clout chasing, basically. And
but the thing is, I understand Nicole for kind of being, not fully listening to Beniah in that situation, because it's like, okay, obviously he's talking to her as well. Yeah. So you would think, okay, so he obviously wants me to like him and choose him. Right. So I don't know for sure who's telling the truth. But if you get that guy and you have
another person,
girl that's talked to him as well, that doesn't want him, that's telling you, hey, here's the reasons why I don't like him. Yeah. Then you might listen.
And I think guys, if anything, the thing that says it all was when they met each other for the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And she was like,
it was so awkward.
It was so awkward, so cringy.
And he was like, I think I love you. Oh, that was after the proposal.
Yeah.
It was after he asked her to marry him. Yeah. And he was like, she was like, I love you. And he was like, I think I love you.
I know. And then literally, I think I kind of want to rewatch just that one scene when they see each other and they're just like, you could just see it in her face. You're like, she knows she fucked up.
Yeah. She's not into it. He's not into it.
Yeah.
Neither are into it. And then they ended the engagement off camera, off screen or whatever.
Yeah. Well, apparently what had happened, what I heard, is that I think Nicole was like, let's just like fuck the show.
Yeah.
Like, let's just figure out, us.
Yeah.
And then he really wanted to go on the vacation and stuff. And then that's when she was like, okay, well, like clearly he just wants to be on this fucking show.
Right.
And she knew. She was like, she had a feeling. She's like, let's just see if this is real, because I'm not sure if we're gonna like.
Right.
And then they ended it.
And then she got together. She met Beniah in person
for coffee.
And then of course he just proposes on the spot, as you do.
Yeah.
As you do as a normal interaction for coffee.
Rose, but we're never going to understand the connection they had in the pods, okay?
Exactly.
I think one day we should like recreate the pod
and then just
in your house and just try it out just to see what it's like.
But we already know each other, Daniel.
That's
so
true.
love would not be blind.
That's very true.
But yeah, now they seem happy. And what's funny is like, because Beniah, he kind of looks like a little bit hippie. Like he's got the long hair, clearly very free spirited. He was basically like, oh yes, like I do, I live here and I live there, and
he's like a gardener,
and I'm kind
of
homeless right now, and I'm just like house sitting. But so he made it seem like he was like, maybe like a bit of a, if you put in bad terms, like you're broke and you're not
homeless,
directionless and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently he got money.
Apparently he's got a lot of money.
Yeah. Apparently he went to a private school, like a rich ass private school.
His family has a lot of money.
His family has a lot of money.
Yeah.
So like when he first thought he was dumped by Nicole, when he first got dumped by Nicole, he like flew to Germany where his family was. His family from the UK, somehow in Germany. I don't know if they were from Germany. Anyway.
I think his family like lives there now or something.
Right. So he flew to Germany just to like stay there and sulk for a few weeks.
Yeah.
To like mend his heart.
Yeah.
Some people have to go to work with a broken heart, Beniah.
But not Beniah.
Not Beniah. So anyways, they're married now. They seem happy.
Yeah.
Beniah seems great.
I know everyone on the social media
like
comments are like, Nicole, you chose right, because like
Thank God.
she did. But the thing is too, like you said, like she didn't know that he had money. She thought he was like this hippie guy, free spirited, whatever. It turns out he got money.
She got lucky.
They're like, you locked that down. You locked that shit down, girl.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah. So they're married and they're happy and great. Okay, so next couple, let's talk about...
Who are we going to talk about next?
Demi and Ollie. What a weird couple. I don't know how I feel about this couple.
I think Ollie from day one, at first, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling this guy.
Yeah,
I think something's off.
Something was off.
Yeah, like he just wanted to be on the show or...
I do think so.
But he also, I think a part of it was like ADHD. Like, because he does suffer from ADHD, so he's like very like sporadic and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of it. But like, again, with these two, the whole time I was getting like friendship vibes.
Yes, me too.
Like,
I was like, yes, I can feel them being close.
As friends.
But I'm like, yeah, I don't see a romantic connection. They, I just was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I could tell that it did.
No.
Pardon me. It didn't feel like Demi was really into it.
It didn't feel like Ollie was that into it either. He kept trying to say he was into it, but I was kind of like,
you're like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. They're kind of, and then apparently, because again, I was kind of skimming through the final episodes when they were like, I was just basically being like, okay, are they going to say yes? Are they going to say no? And then at the part where Demi says no, apparently, Ollie was like, what? Or like, why?
Why?
And people are like, oh, that was a fake react. Again, I was like half paying attention. So I was like, oh. And then he said like some nice stuff at the end. And then later on, people are like, I think it was all planned, because later on in the reunion, basically they were like, yeah, we basically talked about it and we like realized it was like not the time.
Yeah.
So his reaction was obviously staged.
I always wonder with the couples how many of them discuss it before the actual wedding to know like what's gonna happen.
They at least half of them must.
Yeah, they must have an inclination.
But then they probably have to act like they're like surprised.
Exactly.
Like, oh my god, like how can you say no?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, they're not together. They seem fine to not be together.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any bad blood. I think they're just like not. They're not that into it.
Yeah.
But apparently Demi, she was like super insecure on the show.
Yeah.
I remember. But apparently she's done a lot of work on herself. So that's good. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to Daniel's favorite.
My favorite.
Daniel's fallen in love.
Oh, okay. Freddie, I'm
Sight
single.
Definitely seen.
Yes.
Not unseen.
Sight seen.
So everyone's obsessed with Freddie.
It's just because you know what Freddie is, okay? And
again, what is Freddie, Daniel?
Again, you know how I was saying like that kind of like strong, silent type, man of few words. Like I feel like that's very him. Like he's very
I don't know how confident he is though. He's a little bit more of like a puppy.
Yeah.
Him and what's his face? Bobby?
Yeah.
They do have different energy, but I do see where
no, I know you're right completely.
Yeah, very different energy.
I feel like he's definitely a little bit more insecure, and that's probably why he like overcompensates for that by like going to the gym like 4 times a day.
Sure, and making a lot of jokes and stuff.
Exactly.
But he's like a sweetheart. He's like a little golden retriever kind of.
He gives me very
golden
that
retriever
golden
vibes.
Retriever energy, just like a really like I don't know, because like I just from the obviously sightseeing because he's gorgeous. Like he was the hottest person on the show probably. Like in terms of like looks and stuff, like he just was a very attractive man.
He was cute, yeah.
And then also guys, like I have a soft spot for like a northern accent.
Daniel was like, should I move to Manchester?
I was like, should I move to Manchester to meet my own
I'm
Freddie?
like, not everyone in Manchester looks like Freddie, right?
I know. It's like if you had somebody hot from Calgary and it's like, oh, I'm going to move to Calgary. It's like, believe me, guys,
you'd be disappointed.
You'd be disappointed. But yeah, he just seemed really... also the relationship with his brother who suffers
that was
from,
so sweet. Down syndrome,
and how he was such a good like caring person.
Oh, Oh, he was such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about my least favorite woman of the show, Catherine.
Yeah.
She just gives off mean girl vibes.
Yeah.
Like way too much.
I would agree with that.
Especially to Freddie. Everyone was like, oh my God, she's so mean to Freddie. It's so true. Like,
yeah.
And I saw like parodies and it's like, when Freddie's just trying to have a fun time and Freddie's like making jokes or whatever. And like, again, people just acting this out. Yeah. And then Catherine's just like, oh, stop it. Do you think you're funny? Do you think you're funny?
It's true that they weren't a match made really well. I think another problem with that, and Catherine kind of played this, I feel like she played this down and she kept being like, oh, everyone's painting me as this girl that's
party girl
that likes to go out and likes expensive things and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I kind of like, again, not to paint her with the broad brush, but like she enjoys to go out. Like she likes to
Which is fine.
Exactly. Like that's like me. I really would like to, I like to go out and go out for dinners and stuff. Whereas Freddie was like the complete opposite of that.
He likes to stay in. So again, Daniel, are you sure you're going to be with a Freddie?
Well, this is the thing. I thought that I wouldn't want to be, but then
Christelle
made a good point because we're obviously guys in our
friend
group
Christelle.
Chat. Yeah. She made a comment. She was like, what did she say? Oh yeah, you can just go out and then he'll be waiting at home for you.
I don't know. I think that it could work that way. Maybe. Depends on the couple.
Yeah.
And it depends on like how much you don't mind doing things separately.
True.
Because I do think like you do have to have some level of lifestyle like cohesion to some degree.
Yeah. But I mean,
like if you like to go out a lot and if he likes to stay in a lot, then it could work, but it could also cause issues.
Yeah. Potentially.
So it depends.
It's all about communication, Rose.
Yes. So anyways, so Freddie doesn't like to go out. He just likes to go to the gym twice a day.
Yeah.
Doesn't drink a lot, just to stay in, you know, cuddle up, watch a movie. And then Catherine likes to go out. I just feel like they don't really like each other.
No, they didn't. I feel like they just didn't mesh.
Yes. Catherine did not like Freddie. She found him annoying, I think.
Yeah.
And again, Catherine just kept saying, through the entire wedding process, she was just like, I just don't want to be rejected.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be rejected. My biggest fear, which I understand, like she definitely needs to go to therapy because
100%.
she's got some major, trauma. She's like adopted. So I think she has a bit of a, what do you call it? Like when fear of abandonment. Or whatever.
She vocalized that on the show.
Exactly.
She was like, I
vocalized
feel...
on the show, which again, is fair, but that's not up to the person that you're with to, not abandon you because you have a fear of abandonment. Okay. Because people are going to be broken up with.
Exactly.
It's life. So don't go on a show called fucking Love is Blind if you have major fear of abandonment issues. Like what the fuck? Anyways, so she was clearly, again, through the wedding, she said yes, didn't she?
Yeah.
Which was kind of bad to watch.
I know.
She said yes, which again, nobody knows why because you acted like you hated him the entire fucking time.
I know.
And then when he said no, basically she freaked out. And again, I think it's because she got rejected, not because she was heartbroken over Freddie.
Exactly.
Everything she was saying was like, oh, this was my biggest fear, getting rejected. Yeah. I hate this feeling of getting rejected. It was not about Freddie at all.
No, it wasn't. It was just about and also, another scene that I thought was really interesting with Catherine was the one about like which I totally understand what Freddie was talking about, but like, when he brought up the prenup.
Oh, the prenup scene.
Yes.
And her friends.
Oh my God, her friends are so fucking stupid.
Awful.
Yeah, because they basically were like, because Freddie was like, look, because of his like his brother's condition or like his brother's situation, like he's like, when his parents are gone, like likely like I'm gonna have to take care of him. Like that's just the reality of the situation. But if I go, like and clearly Freddie's good with his money. Like he's got his own house. He doesn't go out and drink or do anything. So probably he saves all of his money. He saves
so much money.
Yeah. And so I think that like he probably has good investments and stuff. So anyway, he's like, yeah, I want to get a prenup so that everything will go to my sister so that she can, have that to take care of my older brother. And I remember she was just like kind of taken aback by that. Mm-hmm. And then her friends are like...
She was fully offended by that.
Oh, yeah, hugely. And then her friends go like, well, he's acting as if, it's already over before it's even began.
That's so immature. That's like... People used to say stupid shit like that.
I know. And then they were like, oh, yeah. And also like, the prenup, it's final. Like you can't... It's done.
Oh, yeah.
Once you sign... And I'm like...
bothered you so much.
Oh, it made me so mad because I'm like, guys, if me and Rose were getting married, okay? We're not, by the way, guys. We're not together. PSA or whatever.
PSA, we're not together.
But if we were to get together and we're like, hey, we're gonna go to our lawyers, we're gonna have an agreement between the both of us that we both sign, right? Mm-hmm. 5 years down the road, we've been together, things have been going great, and we're kind of like, actually, let's revisit that. We can like maybe change some clauses and stuff. Maybe we'll, split more of our things.
Yeah.
You can go back as long as you're both there, obviously.
Yes.
And make some adjustments and re-sign it. Like
any contract can be revised.
Exactly.
If both parties agree and
100%.
there's a clause in the contract. Nothing is like, oh, if both parties want like whatever, then it's over.
It's,
like,
you can't do it.
Yeah.
You cannot make a change. It's
Exactly.
written in stone and you cannot change nothing.
And the way that they just acted like, oh my God, if you have a prenup, that means you're already planning on this to be over. Well, yeah, because 50% of marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
And second of all, you just got engaged after 3 days and not actually spending any time together. So yeah, you're going to want to fucking have a prenup.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking stupid?
So Rose, basically what you're saying is if any of your future children went on this show, you would encourage them all to get prenups.
Yeah. Absolutely, I would. And also, it's not just like prenups can be like, you can kind of make it whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't even have to be that like, for example, after you get married, a lot of people do, for example, all the assets you might have before marriage, that belongs to each individual person.
Yeah.
But after you get married, you can kind of have a few different, things like the money you make together or the things that you buy together. Those things could be split however way. So it's not like, you're fully like, what's mine is mine and what's yours is yours.
Yeah.
And it's like, it makes sense that like before marriage, if he has all this stuff like lined up, why would you get fucking half of it?
Exactly. And I think it's becoming more, it's funny because I used to think about prenups as only for super rich people.
No.
But like as you get older, and I'm realizing this now, and as people are getting together later in life, it's like giving you, obviously if you get married when you're 20, you don't have that much time to build up assets or anything, right?
Yeah.
But like fast forward now, like I'm 36. If I was to meet somebody, chances are like, generally we might both have our own properties. We might both have like, so these are things that you do need to think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't get this. And then the friends were encouraging the whole prenup, like don't do a prenup conversation.
Don't sign a prenup.
And it's like, do you guys realize you're on a show called Love is Blind and you got engaged within 3 days? So yes, you should fucking sign a motherfucking prenup. Like, are you actually joking me?
Get your prenups in line. Get your prenups done.
Even if you didn't get engaged after 3 days, you probably should still have some kind of a prenup situation.
And I don't get why people get so offended by it. Like, honestly, if my partner was like mega wealthy, right? And they turn around, even if they weren't, and they sat down and were like, after we got engaged and stuff, or even before, and say, hey, like, if we do happen to get engaged later down the road, I will want to put a prenup in place. I would be totally fine with that.
Yes.
I'd be like, yeah, sure.
Normal.
Like, it's like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, we're together. We're going to be together. Really, the prenup's just outlining stuff that maybe was before the wedding, like before we were together, right?
Yeah. So. And like, Catherine was just, I don't know. Again, we don't know how these people are in actual life. Okay. Yeah. But the way that she was, even after Freddie said no and she's like all sad, which is fair. And emotional. But again, it's not because of Freddie. It's because she got rejected.
Yeah.
And she like went into the room and like her parents seem really sweet. And like, I think her dad or something was like coming in to like, be with her and stuff. And she just seems just like always a little bit slightly bitchy. I hate saying that, but like tiny bit. Like she's just like, oh, leave me alone. Like, and like, again, maybe you're just grieving and you kind of want to be left alone, but like, come on, that's your dad and he's being really sweet and you're just like, leave me alone. Apparently she's dating someone from the pods though.
Is she? Oh yeah, like, she is. Yeah. Right.
So hopefully,
somebody else.
Yeah, hopefully she got some therapy. And hopefully now she's a better partner for this person.
This is true. You live and you learn.
And is Freddie single, Daniels?
Yes.
Oh goddamn, Daniels.
I follow him on Instagram.
Did you send him a little DM?
I might have. No, I definitely didn't, guys. I definitely didn't.
Yeah. So those were the couples. I think that's it.
Was that it?
I think
that's
so.
All of them? I thought there was one more.
Like, hold on. We discussed.
Oh, we talked about Natasha already. Yeah.
Yeah, we discussed. Let's see. Freddie and Catherine.
Yep.
We discussed Ollie and Demi. We discussed Maria and Tom.
Yeah.
There was Sabrina and Steven. Mm-hmm. There was Nicole and Beniah and Bobby and Jasmine. That's 6 couples.
Also, can we talk about one other thing about Beniah? She has this like luscious long hair.
Uh-huh.
A picture like surfaced. I don't know where it's from of when he had like short hair.
Was he good looking?
Oh my God,
he's not
good.
a bad looking guy.
No,
like you can see
looking.
his bone structure. He has very nice bone structure
and like chiseled jaw.
Yes,
like,
so I can see him being like pretty good looking.
He's definitely
yeah. So he's a looker and he got money.
Yeah, bro.
And he's a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one scene when Beniah, when like Sam came into the picture because like after when they're doing, they all meet together, like they introduce these, other people from the pods. So Sam came in And then like Sam and Beniah had like an interaction. And then Sam was like, you know that like she tried to sleep with me. And then Beniah's just like, because he's obviously trying to get like a reaction out of him or something. And Beniah's just like, and he just starts laughing like, are you fucking stupid? And what? So what? What do you want me to do with that information?
Rose, can you do that again? What was the reaction?
I don't think he did that. I think it was just like, there was like a pause.
Yeah.
It was like,
we need to get you on one of these shows, Rose, just for the reaction. You know, it's funny. I know I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I always just like to bug Rose about it. But like, I watched this Korean show. It was called Physical 100.
uh-huh.
And I would just joke. I was like messaging Rose about this. This was a while ago, and like honestly, I don't know if it was just this. I don't think it was just this particular show, but like the contestants and stuff on the show were like hyper animated. You know, they were like, "What?" and then of course the editing, they'll have somebody
They'll
go like
repeat it
5 times.
Yeah.
So you'll have the same person
It's a
doing
Korean
like,
style.
I was like, what the fuck is
It's
going
a Korean
on?
style, Daniels. You be racist?
I'm like, okay, I got it right. I got it the first time. Okay. God damn.
Anyway, that's Love Is Blind UK. I guess we didn't even fill the whole hour. Remember the last one?
Oh my God, it was like
Love
3
Is Blind
hours.
season 6 or whatever. We did like a 2-hour episode.
But again, I feel like the reason why
there was a lot more drama.
Way more drama. Like look back at some of those old couples, like the kind of shit that would happen.
I
like
know.
You know, you had the Megan Fox girl and the guy, like, you know, having it out all the time. Like it was way more drama.
Way more drama.
Pardon me, all of these couples, it was very subdued. Like not subdued, I don't want to say, like they still had their...
That's why it seemed more real in a way, because it was like, okay, it didn't seem too much like they were just playing things up for the camera.
Yeah.
The fact that we couldn't even fill a whole hour talking about this.
I know. Like, do you remember? Oh, God, who was it? Why can't I remember these people, guys? I need to stop drinking.
What do you mean? The people from the show?
Yeah.
I think there's a good reason why you can't remember the names of the people on a reality show, Daniel.
That's true.
It's insignificant.
That's very true. But I remember there was the one couple where the guy went to drive a girl home that was a girl that he had the other connection with. And then he lied about it.
He left his he had his Apple Watch on.
Yeah, so he turned his location off on his phone, but he had his Apple Watch on still. So it still tracked his location because he shared it with her. And then she's like, don't share your location if you don't expect somebody to like look it up. And then he like got caught out so bad.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so fucked up.
Oh God, Love is Blind. Daniel.
Yeah,
love definitely ain't blind, let me tell you.
Well, this is the thing, guys. At the end of the day, I get where the premise of the show and like how they're trying to like, you know, I hate how they're like, it's such an experiment, you know? I'm like, it's not really. You put beautiful people
exactly.
on
They're
a show.
still all beautiful.
Exactly. Every single person was like gorgeous in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And then there was like Freddie, who's like a freaking Greek god, you know? Like literally, of course, if I was like matched with someone, we had a really great connection, and then the screen lifted and it was Freddie, I would be like,
oh, you'd be like, I just hit the jackpot. I will treat him like the king that he is.
Let's get to the resort real quick for that physical connection. Let me tell you. Where was I going with this?
We're talking about how Love is Blind is not really blind.
Oh, right. I think that obviously a relationship has so many different facets and important parts of it. Like obviously the communication and that part is really important, but there's a lot of things that you get attracted to somebody with that's like it's nonverbal, but it's like what they're doing with their like, you know, and you find it sexy and it adds all to that. So if you don't have that there, then it's like, it's not
You're
gonna
just
work.
talking, you know, if you're just talking on the fucking phone, you cannot develop a full-on connection.
No,
so it's so stupid.
It's quite,
and also it's like you're not in a normal environment. You're in a fucking pod. Okay, this is not reality. Yeah. And all you're doing is talking. And of course, there's no stresses. You got booze in front of you.
Yeah.
All you're doing, your entire job is to focus on the date. So yeah, everyone's gonna probably be in a certain way. Yeah. Like they're gonna be fine.
I can't wait to see you guys when I go on to the Canadian version, the Canadian gay version, and I'm gonna get engaged. And you know how they have to meet the friends and family.
Daniel, can we please make this happen? If there's an American one, I will fly you out to go to fucking the American version.
You heard it here first, guys. But you know when they have to meet the friends and the family and all that. So you're gonna be on there as well because they're gonna have to meet you, and you're just gonna be like,
who the fuck is this guy, Daniel?
You're like, who the fuck is? Like, so Rose, don't freak out. I've known him for exactly 3 days, and we're engaged now. Sight unseen.
Oh my God,
and you'll be like,
it's gonna be great.
Oh God, it'll be priceless.
I do remember, like, we talked about this off camera. We're like, it's funny how again, they have like however many days to like have these full on conversations, like, get to know each other so deeply.
Yeah.
Yet somehow prenups don't get brought up in the pods.
Yep.
Somehow, Catherine and what's his face, your favorite guy,
Freddie.
Somehow they fail to discuss their lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because it's like, wouldn't that be like, oh, what do you like to do on a typical Friday night? I like to stay home and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I like to go out and try, new restaurants.
Yeah.
Completely different lifestyles. And again, it could potentially work.
Yeah.
If, if
I find it funny though, because this happens on every single, even the US seasons. It's like the most basic shit. Like one of them's like, oh, I have a dog, you have a dog. Maybe the dogs aren't gonna get along. Like, why was that not just,
right.
Little things like this, or like, hey, I happen to have mountains of student loans and debt that I'm trying to repay, and I'm like,
well, that
fucked.
I can see why they don't want to bring that up.
I mean, true.
They just want to get married and then,
Hey, I happen to be bisexual and my ex-partner was a man. Surprise! And like, honestly, I'm thinking back to that was like I think it was like season 2 or something.
The gay guy or the bisexual guy?
The bisexual guy
was probably gay.
Yeah.
Right? The black one, right?
We don't know for sure.
It was season 1, I think.
Yeah, it might have been season 1.
Yeah.
And I just remember though, like the lady that he was engaged to, I thought she handled it pretty well, because that is something that I feel like should have been brought up in the pods to make like a proper decision. And then he like automatically, like she was like, hey, you just need to give me a bit of time to process this. Like I need to understand it and like, and he right away went on the defense and got super aggressive and was like, you're being homophobic and like all this stuff. And she's like, well, I'm not. It's just like, this is a lot, like you've just brought that up. Like I would, honestly, I feel like it's a little different in the gay world, because like a lot of gay men have previously been with women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just how it is.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like not a big deal. Like if I dated a guy and he's like, oh, by the way, I'm bisexual.
Yeah, it's like a little bit different.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Like it is what it is, right? But anyway.
Anyway, guys, so that brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this debrief of Love is Blind UK edition. Now there's Love is Blind Japan, Love is Blind Mexico, Love is Blind Brazil, I think. Haven't watched those yet. What
about South Korea, Rose? Is that one coming soon?
Oh, I would watch South Korea. I would watch the hell out of South Korea. The problem is, it's like, this is one of those shows I like to skim, and I like to kind of like, so not really into reading, the subtitles. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true.
It's too much effort.
It's like, it's not like a show, like, like Money Heist. I will sit there. I'll watch Squid Game. I will sit there. I will read the subtitles. If it's not in a language I can't understand, and it's Love is Blind.
Exactly.
I'm also
That's
not.
what I mean. So we will only stick to doing the debriefs of the English language versions.
Yeah.
Because we cannot be bothered.
Let's be honest.
Read through the subtitles.
It's a filler show.
It's a filler show.
It's a show that, I'll be doing some cleaning in the kitchen. I'll have it on the background. And then all of a sudden I'll hear some like drama and I'll be like, what happened?
Yeah.
I'll quickly rewind a little bit, watch. And then I'm like, okay, good. Moving on.
So yes, you guys, I hope you enjoyed our little episode. If you are watching on YouTube, leave a comment below and letting us know your thoughts if you did watch the show.
Yeah.
Let us know your thoughts on our little debrief. Okay, if you agree with us or not.
It's gonna be season 7 in the US soon.
Oh god damn! When it coming out?
I don't know. We gotta Google it. Maybe it tell you. Then we know when it comes out.
We'll find out.
God damn.
And then guys, if you're watching the video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Make sure you follow us on whatever podcast platform you like to listen to us on. Yeah. And what else, Daniel?
And guys, if you're not already, check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/The SaVeg Podcast for exclusive content, ad-free content, episodes a week before everyone else. A great little community over there. And also, guys, check out our website as well, www.thesavagepodcast.com.
Thanks, guys. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.